does.
Oh, there's not saying that. We don't want to go to 2, but I understand what the ability.
That's the guy.
Okay.
Okay, Mayor, the meeting is yours.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to invite you to the Vinton Town Council meeting for this Tuesday evening, October 4th, 2022. Very special day around here, right? Susan, if you would please call a roll.
Councilmember Lyles.
Here.
Councilmember Mullins.
Here.
Councilmember Stovall.
Here.
Mayor Gross.
Here. And we do have a quorum. All right, as always, I'll ask you to stand for a couple items. That's our moment of silence. We use that here in the town of Vinton so that everyone can pray as they see fit. I hope you will pray during that time. I certainly plan to. And during your thoughts and prayers, let's keep in mind our fellow Americans in Florida. They're certainly going through a rough time. While we're standing, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Lyles, who's doing that?
I have was very efficient in asking the last person to walk in the room if she would do it,
All right.
and Chastity Barber has agreed.
Just in the nick of time. All right, if you'll stand for those items, please.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Again, thank you folks for being here. With that, we'll move on to the request to postpone or change the order of the agenda. Mr. Manager, I understand we have one change, is that right?
Yes, sir. We had a recognition of a local business owner scheduled for this evening. He was unable to make it, so I propose that we eliminate item G1.
All right, thank you, sir. Any objections? All right, if not, we'll just proceed as outlined. The next item is the consent agenda, which tonight contains the minutes of our regular meeting for September 6th. Any changes or additions? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Lyles, second by Councilmember Mullins. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. And we'll move to the awards and presentations as we had mentioned briefly earlier. And so I guess we'll go to item number 2, right? Which, Chief Drummond, I think you're up for that, right?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Thank you for the opportunity to sit here today and discuss the Vinton Police Department's reaccreditation process. This would mark our agency's 5th award, and this one's specifically important on my perspective as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer because it's my first as the Chief of Police. While I've gotten to participate in many since sort of when I was a younger officer in many different aspects, this one's the first one, I guess, sitting in the hot seat. While an accreditation designation it's a voluntary process. However, any agency that strives to deliver the best services to the community they serve should do partnerships with all the criminal justice systems that are in place, and one of those is the accreditation process. Being so, I'd like to invite Deputy Chief Lawless up to discuss the process with you all and what it looks like in a 4-year scope and what exactly is the term of being accredited, an accredited agency, and what value it brings to the police department and, of course, to the town itself.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, town staff, thank you for this opportunity to speak to you for a few minutes to explain the accreditation process and why it's important for our police department and citizens that we serve. The purpose of the Virginia Law Enforcement Professional Standards Commission is to advance law enforcement professionalism through the establishment of professional standards and the administration of a formal mechanism by which Virginia agencies can systematically be measured, evaluated, and updated. Accreditation is the ongoing process whereby agencies evaluate policy and procedure against established criteria and have compliance with the criteria verified by an independent and authoritative body. Criteria or standards are policy-developed guidelines that represent a level of quality service delivery. The true indicator of compliance, however, lies with the evaluation by trained, independent professional peers. The establishment of meaningful and professional standards and an evaluation for compliance of those standards are therefore the two fundamentals of an accreditation program. The standards are the basis of an accreditation program that affects every component of the agency. Throughout, the dedication of service and professionalism demonstrated by obtainment of accreditation status, law enforcement agencies can greatly enhance the services they deliver to the communities they serve. Accreditation increases the Benton Police Department's ability to prevent and control crime through more effective and efficient delivery of law enforcement services to the community we serve. Accreditation enhances community understanding of our agency and its role in the community as well as our goals and objectives. Citizen confidence in the policies and practices of our agency is increased. Accreditation in conjunction with the philosophy and community policing commits our agency to a broad range of programs that directly benefit the public. Accreditation creates a forum in which police and citizens work together to control and prevent crime. This partnership helps citizens to understand the challenges that confront law enforcement and provides them with validation that our department abides by strict professional standards. Accreditation also requires that Benton Police Department policies and procedures are in written form and are available to all agency personnel at all times. Accreditation assures our employees that every aspect of the agency's personnel system is in accord with professional standards and that the system is both fair and equitable. The Benton Police Department is compelled to operate within specific guidelines as we are accountable to the Commission. Our agency must stay in compliance with the standards set forth by the Commission in order to retain our accreditation. The morale of our agency is enhanced by increasing the employees' confidence in the effectiveness and efficiency within our agency. Accreditation policies address officer safety issues and provide for adequate training and equipment for the officers. Accreditation is a coveted award that symbolizes professionalism, excellence, and competence. The accreditation process requires an in-depth review of every aspect of our agency's organization, management, operations, and administration. The Benton Police Department has maintained consistent accreditation status since we were first accredited in 2002. Every 4 years, we have to apply for reaccreditation, and assessors come to our department and spend multiple days going over files, documents, and our policies and procedures. In order for our department to maintain accreditation status, we must meet or exceed all 191 standards set forth by the Virginia Law Enforcement Professional Standards Commission. There are 4 terms within an accreditation cycle, which 191 standards have to be met every term. This is 764 total files that get reviewed for accreditation. The Benton Police Department went through an extensive review of our agency's administration, operations, personnel and training, and policies and procedures. And it is my pleasure to announce that on Tuesday, September 27, 2022, the Benton Police Department was awarded our 5th consecutive reaccreditation award, showing compliance in all 191 standards for all 4 terms. This demonstrates that the last 20 years, the Benton Police Department has operated at the highest standards. Employees of the Benton Police Department and citizens of the town of Benton should take pride knowing that our agency represents the very best in law enforcement. I also want to take this time to recognize our accreditation manager, Brandon Hill, who was responsible for maintaining all accreditation files and making sure we are within compliance with all standards. Maintaining 764 files is a daunting task, and a full-time job by itself. Brandon not only completed this task flawlessly, but did so while serving as our records manager. Brandon basically has been doing 2 full-time jobs and has done an amazing job completing all necessary tasks that both jobs require. Brandon is not only a valuable asset to our team and our agency, but we recognize that Brandon is held to a high esteem of professionalism and knowledge in the accreditation community. Currently, Brandon is rated as a senior assessor and is quickly progressing to meet the standards of a master assessor, which is a highly coveted and difficult position to obtain. Brandon is a huge asset to our department and deserves recognition for his outstanding job. Brandon, if you would.
Just real quick, so, what happens in accreditation is you have this 4-year review of policies, 794 standards, very intimate look at your police department. Total transparency is the goal here, and what we try to achieve with our public. And what it comes down to is it reviews every policy, from your use of force policies to your pursuit policies to how you select and hire employees and how you promote them. You have to show consistency in each and every term, 4 times a year. 4 times a year for 4 years straight, and then they come in and review you. You have an independent body of law enforcement professionals throughout the Commonwealth that come here to Benton and look after, and then you go to a conference where you have sort of a makeup just like this one with a bunch of very important folks sitting in front of me like they are today that review that report, and they have follow-up questions. And behind you, there's an audience of about 300 people. So hopefully you do a good job because everybody's watching. In this case, we captured the absolute magic that Brandon Hill is in accreditation. But after it was all said and done and we went through our board and they reviewed our files, we had 0 returns on every single file, 0 minor returns, 0 major returns. By lack of a better term, it was a perfect report. And that is extremely difficult to achieve, and especially being witness to other departments going there who did exceptional as well, but had some areas to fix. In our case, it was an A+. Very difficult that one of the board members, after the fact, we were grabbing coffee and he came up to me. He's like, "It's very nice, but seldom that a police department comes up here and has that perfect score, that 0, 0, 0 across the board." And Vinton achieved that. I'll certainly, I always take credit for stuff, but in this case, it's all Brandon Hill and of course the management of the Deputy Chief Lawless and Miss Mandy Baker helping us with the logistics of it all. But all work, all the credit goes to Brandon Hill. We are absolutely blessed to have him. It seems like the law enforcement professionals in the Commonwealth seek him for advice. He goes to other departments and he does the accreditation for them and assesses them. And we're lucky to have him here because I wouldn't want him assessing us because he's very picky. It's no mercy when he's looking into our policies, and I'm extremely proud to call him a friend. And congratulations, this award is on your behalf. This is 20 years of being accredited, being looked at as a police department that conducts itself in its most professional and highest esteem that anybody can achieve in this country. Congratulations to you. Thank you. With that, of course, the Virginia Law Enforcement Professional Standards Commission gives us a beautiful plaque that will hang in our PD that says 6th award. I think I had said 5th, but the first one counts as 1, so it's 6th. 20 years, that is extremely proud moment. Extremely proud moment to have one of these with the perfect score. I'll probably get a red marker and put A+ on it. Congratulations to you. We'll take a picture.
Mike, you will start the comments.
Okay.
So with that being said, we're of course welcome any questions if we haven't provided any clarity. Now's the moment to ask because I have the expert here.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Well, I think council does have a few comments, and we'll start with a former police officer of this department.
Sure, Mike. Well, I think the first thing it shows is the ability to hire the officers, because naturally you get to a certain point that you want to put your fingerprints on the police department, but those people be able to adhere to all the policies, because it's easy. We see it throughout the United States. It's bad to say, I guess, but we do see officers that stray away from the policies and the things that they're supposed to do. And so ingraining that in leadership and into the officers, I think, is what allows you to achieve this goal, especially for your first time. Congratulations. Thank you for your hard work and for your leadership. But I think it shows truly the top-notch police department that we have. And I think it says to all the citizens, not only watching, but the ones maybe that may read about it, is the fact of how safe they should feel every day when they go to bed, go get up, go to work, whatever's being watched, how safe they should feel. So congratulations to you and to the police department.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, guys. I can't believe how far our police department's come in the last few years, and it's exciting, and we're very lucky. We're very blessed to have you all leading the charge and keeping us safe. And so now do you get to rest for 4 years, or do you have to? Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate y'all.
Sir?
Yeah, same, echo everyone. I mean, I wrote down a few things, like 191 standards.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to be held responsible for. And then the 764 files that had to be perfect. Like Lori said, it's great to see our police department has come as far as it was. The mayor mentioned, like, as former police officer, so we've come a long way since then.
We have that.
Oh,
We definitely have that.
It's great to see that.
What I didn't mention, so a lot of what, in the world of law enforcement, we extend far beyond our reach when it comes to the financial component, the planning and zoning, the town manager's office, human resources with, hiring. So we rely on them as well to have their paperwork and validations and good policies as far as the town, because that counts towards ours as well. Not only that, but building cleanliness, everything counts. They inspect our cars, our equipment, operationability. They ride around with the officers and ask them questions, off-the-cuff questions about policies. You have no idea what they're going to ask, but they ask it. In this case, I'm going off memory on the report that they provided, but they drove with Corporal Bray and did a phenomenal job, an absolutely phenomenal job in answering policy-related questions. We have officers operating in the town of Vinton that are connected with the policies and the procedures, and things are logical to them, and they were put to the test essentially, and did phenomenal jobs. It was an absolute phenomenal report, and thank you to the town and the elected body, of course, for supporting us and helping us and be accredited and providing those documentations. That's how it works is they'll give you that standard, and you just don't give them a policy and they read and be like, looks good. Of course, they compare it to Virginia Code legislation changes, but then they look for proofs. It's our incident-based reporting. This is how I put a process together for promotions, and to make sure it's logical and it's consistent in the last 4 years. And if there's change, why is there change? Does the policy reflect that change? So it's stacks of paperwork that go into just one file. You have to show those proofs on how you apply policy and how you apply it effectively. Hats it totally to them for capturing that, because not only do you have to show validation, but you have to keep up every day with what you're doing. And trying to keep up with someone like me, where I'm 100 miles an hour, probably is tough on him, but he does a great job doing it. So
Yeah.
congratulations once again.
Yeah, congratulations. I certainly want to join the other council members in congratulating all of you. And this is a big deal. I mean, you guys do it so efficiently, it almost seems, I don't know, routine, but we know it's not routine. We know it takes a lot of work, and we certainly appreciate that. And what a great team. Officer Hill and Captain Lawless and the chief, and of course Mrs. Baker. So I know that's a great team, and I know it takes a lot of work. I think that it's very, very important, and I wish I could remember where I was reading. Just not too long ago, I read where couple of localities in Virginia didn't make it, you know. Not everyone automatically gets, as you guys know, gets accredited. So I think this is awesome, and for us to have no deficiencies at all, that's incredible. That's really incredible. So congratulations on a great job, and it's really important too, because as you mentioned earlier, our citizens can have that confidence in knowing that the procedures are, number one, they're set forth, as you mentioned, and that our department is following those procedures, and also improves the efficiency of the unit. So I think it's just incredibly important. I'm just very, very proud of you guys and ladies, all of you. We got a great department. As I say often, you guys make us proud every day. Yeah,
Thanks, sir.
you bet.
Yeah, just real quick. I'll keep it
Sure.
short, but- So like you mentioned, I'm actually an assessor for epilepsy as well, so I go to other agencies all across the Commonwealth, go to sheriff's offices, go to police departments, and assess them, just like we were just assessed. And I know they taught me an awful lot, but the truth is our department is great through and through, and one of the things that I noticed on our assessment that you don't really see in other ones is everything's flawless through and through from the static display, which is where we have various officers set up their vehicles. They'll come through and they inspect every inch of the vehicle, and they ask the officers question after question, policy. Very seldomly, as an assessor, do you see that and not have at least one of the officers where they're kind of not really knowing their stuff too well, or maybe their car, not everything's there, and then the ride-along component. Usually there's something in there as an assessor you're going to see that's kind of like a little nick on them, on the agency, but with us, the assessors, all three assessors came up to me and told me how impressed they were with the officers we have on the static display, with the ride-along cough spray. So I know they say, you know, it looked really good on me having all these files done. At the same time, it was even more impressive having them come back and say such good things about all the officers that they encountered and interviewed, and how they knew all their policies and didn't fluster on any questions or anything. So I was pretty proud to hear that. So.
Yeah, that's great.
Right.
Very good, very good. Well, we certainly, let me add one other comment, because this has always been something that's kind of stuck in my mind. It's very impressive to me. We know this is certainly a high mark in professionalism, and it's difficult to achieve this, and takes a lot of work and everything. But it's also good to know that our officers are not only professional, but they're humans, and they understand that they're people. And really where I'm going is, some years ago, council got to look at the vehicles, and we looked at the box of stuff, goodies in the trunk there, you know, and every one of the vehicles at that time had a little teddy bear in there. And I thought, well, you know, I see all this other professional equipment, but the little teddy bear was there to provide comfort for any child or any person that might need it. I don't know if you guys still do that or not, but I thought that was a really nice human touch. So, very nice.
We do, Mr. Mayor. Most of these officers have blankets, toys, teddy bears, coloring books. So it's sort of like inside of the police car now, the technology looks like an air cockpit.
Yeah.
There's just stuff everywhere, and that's just the way things are, the progression of how law enforcement is. But the trunk system is loaded down with just about every resource that we get. We kind of get thrown into, really, and we want to respond and do it effectively and make a good impression in our town, that our people that we have in our department are our greatest asset, and we want to employ those guys and girls out there to be a valuable resource to our community. And through a very intimate look in our police department, it seems like we're achieving that, and it's a very proud moment.
Yeah, it should,
Right.
yes, definitely a proud moment is a good way to put it. Thanks.
Right.
Anyone else like to make any comments? Good going, guys.
I just have one more thing. I put a flyer into your on your desk there, and it says honoring the fallen. So for the month of October, police officers will be growing their facial hair, and this is in conjunction with some of the things that we do in the as the winter comes and the holiday comes, and more to follow, I suppose. But just for the month of October, the officers will be participating in the First Responders Children Foundation, and what that is the foundation that provides financial support to children that have lost a loved one, a first responder that was tragically killed in the line of duty. So officers will be donating monetary value to this foundation And the point of contact to that, of course, is Lieutenant Caldwell and Lieutenant Hurt. So we'll be providing money to our resource so they can send it to all these families that have had a tragic circumstance in their life. And we share that with you because you're all more than welcome to participate. More information will follow as far as what we'll be doing for the months forward. But I just kind of wanted to share that little tidbit with you guys. So some of us can grow facial hair a lot quicker than others.
Can we grow, can we grow it with you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We'll welcome it.
No
and
fair, you got a head start.
Towards the end, we'll kind of talk about it and capture every single event that we did. Each month will be a different thing leading up to Christmas, where we do Angel Tree with our two elementary schools. And then we'll kind of wrap it up and brief you guys on it and tell you what we did and see how you guys look with beards. It'll still be, we're not gonna grow Santa beards, but it'll be something.
I do, I will. If I grow one, it'll be Santa. Right, it will
You
be.
can do that, can't you?
I can.
That sounds great.
On the lines for our female officers as well, but more to follow. I just wanted to share that little tidbit with you guys because you will see us, how you don't customly see us with facial hair.
All right.
Thank you all. I
Thank-
appreciate the time getting to share this with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome, guys. Very, very good. Wow. So Chastity, how in the world are you going to follow that? Oh, my goodness. Good evening.
Hello.
So I'm gonna do some events first, and then I'm just gonna talk like I normally do, like y'all know what I've been doing around town and outside of town. So, as y'all know, Fall Festival is this weekend, and it looks like the weather's gonna be amazing, so that'll be this Saturday from 10 to 4. We have local entertainment on both stages at the Farmers Market and at the municipal stage, between 10 and 1. The municipal stage runs a little bit longer with Susan's Lewis Music Studio, so they'll go to probably like 2:30. So anybody come out, we got kids' activities at Benton Baptist Church. There's over 70 vendors. So again, the weather looks great, so I hope to see everybody. Thanks to Public Works and Police Department for making all this happen and making me and Angie look good in these good weather days. So I'll go over a couple other events too. The Lancer Lot has Virginia Tech Ice. On the 14th is a home game at 7:30 against West Virginia. On the 15th at 7:30, they play against George Washington. And then we'll come on down to Twin Creeks. They're open right now. They have a group of bikers that go out and ride a route, and then they meet up there on Tuesday nights. So they're open until I think it's 9 tonight. And then tomorrow at 6:30 is bingo. Thursday they have trivia at 6:30. And then Saturday they're gonna have Rocktoberfest. So I don't know if y'all been able to go to that before, but it's right after Fall Festival, and it's in their backyard, and it goes on until 10 o'clock that night. So plenty of activity to do this weekend in Benton. Shouldn't be a problem with all the shopping and all the concerts later on. So all good things. And while I'm here, I'll tell you everything else that's been going on. So I don't know if y'all heard of Career Quest, but it is something that Virginia Career Works puts on every year, and it's in conjunction with the Roanoke Regional Partnership. There's several things, and it's for every 7th grader in the county. And they're from everywhere, actually. I shouldn't just say in the county, because there was Blacksburg, Pulaski. And what it is they're trying to teach these kids and expose them to different trades, or anything from a banker to somebody that would own a lemonade stand, or that turns into a truck and, a brick and mortar. The Benton War Memorial was chosen to come this year and teach 4,000 7th graders how to teach table etiquette. So it was 12 students at a time at 2 5-foot rounds, and we taught them table etiquette. And some of the answers were amazing. I'll tell you a couple. I had a little boy who wanted to know why he needed table etiquette, because he was taking his significant other to Wendy's because they were going to get a 4 for 4 no matter where we were. And I was like, buddy, they have plastic silverware there. Like, you got I don't know where to put the fork in the spoon. But some of these kids had never even sat down at a play setting that had more than one fork or a knife and a couple spoons. So it was really cool to see really the different experiences that they had been through in their life and where they thought the salad fork went and all that stuff. So really neat exposure, I feel like, for the town of Benton and also Benton War Memorial to be out there. Also lets you know hospitality is a huge world. So, I mean, you could do that part-time in college, or you can do it full-time when you get out. So I thought that was great to be out there. And overall, we've already signed up again for the spring. So they're doing a 10th graders, which is more so like people or the kids that already know whether they're going to go to college or not, or what they're going to try. So I feel like that's a good resource to keep us out in the area. So I'd ask the police department and Public Works to join us maybe for a table. And what you are required to have is an interactive piece. So it's something that about 50 kids can stand around you and do, or you can do like I did and choose to do 12 at a time, which is a lot, I'm not gonna lie. I was very exhausted by the time I left there. I was like, I told every teacher I saw, like, bless you, bless you, bless you. I don't have the patience anymore. And then I'll back up a couple weeks before that. I attended a 2-day seminar that was called Balancing Leadership that was facilitated by the University of Virginia. And so that class was really cool. I would have liked to go on in person, but they're not in person yet. So we did a Zoom. I was on a call with almost 70 different leaders of anywhere from directors to town managers to police chiefs, anything like that. And just going through different studies of how the world's changing and what's adaptable and what's the best practices for a leader. I felt like that's something that I wanted to tell you guys because it's not something that's, I guess it's offered a lot, but it's not something that I would have known about without Pete. He sent me the information, so I felt like that was a very good class to go to. Let's see. I'm not really good at this. I feel like I'm just sitting up here like, hey guys, this is what I've been doing. But I wanted to brag a little bit though about Roanoke Valley leaders, or the different leadership programs that I'm in. So you all know that I've been in with LRV since 2018, and every year I'm just like, okay, I'm going to stay one more time, I'm going to stay one more time. So I'm back at it again as a program consultant, which means that I program with 2 other chair people. We program 5 of the 10 programs out of the whole year, which is all day from 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. And what we're doing is ultimately is showing the 32 participants, because that's how many are in a class. We're setting the standard of how we would like their programs to go for when they get to do theirs. And theirs start in January. So the reason why I'm telling y'all this is because every year there's 32 more participants that come through this program. That's 32 more businesses that we get to reach out to. So I feel like the purpose and the value of that and keeping the town event and then the logo out is worth my time and worth our time of investing in the LRV. It's not every day that you get to meet 32 different businesses.
Awesome.
And get to invest in them. And anytime you have a question, I'll stop, so you can feel free to ask.
Go for it.
Okay. And so the program consultants, I'm done with that this December. And then I'll only have to go there one time a month, and that's just to watch the participants actually do their program, and then they graduate in June. So I decided that Smith Mountain Lake had a leadership program, and it's their 2nd year. So I was like, why not? I mean, people need to know what the lake what Benton's doing. You know, they drive by here every day to get to the lake, so why not go down there and let's talk about Benton. So with that being said, I'm in a 10-month class that they meet 1 day a month, but I was thinking that I was just gonna go to the lake and we were gonna hang out at really cool places. Little did I know this was all of Franklin County and Bedford. So we got more exposures than I ever dreamed of. I will say the coolest thing is being able to go to these different places and they say, you have a mission statement, your town has a strategic plan, and it's on paper. And I'm like, yeah, I'll bring you a copy of it. Like, it's right here. We just went over it. So to know that the town is that far ahead of a lot of other towns is really, really something I'm very proud of. So kudos to all of y'all, because, I mean, y'all are what's making it happen. Let's see here, what else I have on my list? Oh, okay, so have y'all seen the YouTube channel with me and Angie?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the fun part. So I don't know what me and Scott from RVTV was talking one day, and I was like, hey, have you ever seen Steve, from Dirty Jobs? He's like, huh? And I was like, I think it would be fun, like, if we could do something with the businesses. And he was like, so, okay, what do you want to do? And how's this going to go? And I need a script. And I was like, a what? I barely write emails. How in the world am I going to write a script? Like, this is crazy. So, anyway.
Y'all don't need a script.
No, you're right, you're
Well,
right.
the two people that are filming us and editing us, they apparently in the TV world, you need a script.
Oh, well.
So we just told Scott, I said, can I bring anybody else with me? He was like, oh yeah, sure. I said, okay, the chamber, one, she's got all the members. So, I mean, to me, that was a no-brainer. We could call them and start with them. So then I had to pick on my friend Mark Fry, and I was like, hey, bud, how you doing? Take it first, because I'm really comfortable with you. So anyway, that started the series, All Things in Vinton. We couldn't make this possible without RVTV. They edit everything that they take from us. Thank the Lord they edit. And then they send us the final cuts. So as of right now, we have 7 shows that we've already taped. We are booked every Monday until December with new businesses. We have businesses now outside of the region who are saying, well, if we don't have anything in Vinton, can you come where we are? So we don't know if we're taking the show on the road or what we're doing, but we want to make sure that everybody here is taken care of first. So please, if you want us to come out there in the show, it is one, to teach a lesson. It's not to make fun of any business. It's to have fun. It's to let people know, hey, me and Angie, you can call us, you can talk to us, it's okay. And also, it's just to have a different atmosphere. I think my dog doesn't like me right now.
She's a star.
She is not happy with Mom at all. If y'all haven't seen, let's see, she got her hair cut at Posh Salon, and then she had to go do the agility course at Field of Dreams.
And what is she, 3 pounds?
She's 3 pounds. Agility is not her thing, let me tell you. She ate more treats that day than she's ever ate in her life. So I hope y'all tune into that. If you go to YouTube, just type in the search bar, All Things Vinton, and it shows you every one that we've done so far. A lot of times they're up on Tuesday, so you get a sneak peek before anybody else does on the YouTube channel. And let's see, what else? A couple weeks ago, well, now it's probably been about a month ago, I got to speak at Ferrum College about growth mindset. And exactly how do I use my growth mindset in my working life. So I've learned growth mindset a little bit over the last 5 years. Anybody who knew me prior to 5 years is like, yeah, she's growing a little bit for sure. But the last 2 years, I've kind of dove into the studies of DISC, which basically is about your personality. So whether you're a driver, an influencer, whether you're a supporter or a calculator, basically this is how you learn the people that you work with. So more and more as I've gotten to do it, and now I'm certified in 4 of the DISC assessments. So I'm quite not certified to go teach a 4-hour class, but I can teach a 2-hour class. And I use that at the Roanoke Chamber, and I use that at Smith Mountain Lake Leadership. So I tell you that because one of my professors actually got to come here and help us with our leadership day. And so that was really neat for them to see what I've been talking about for 2 years, instead of like, Chastity, why do you keep calling us a C? What is a C? Well, a C is a calculator. Most of the time, those are like your bankers, your police officers. I think Donna has a little C in her too. But it's a whole nother thought process. And when you talk to somebody first thing in the morning, you might be like, okay, they're in a bad mood. But once you realize that this is how they're structured and that's their personality, it makes you look at it a little bit different. So it's kind of helped me understand people and me being in the public. So I feel like this can help with hiring employees. It also can help with employee conflict resolution. There's a lot of lunch and learns that you can teach with it, whether it's breathing exercises, personality. There's just tons of different avenues we could go down. Also, if you haven't taken this, there's a ton of free ones, just if you wanted to just go on Google and just see what you are. I didn't believe it at first because I didn't think anybody could tell me in 10 questions who I am. They did it. They definitely did it. We, I think, can probably say they did it, yeah. So I think it's really good. Susan was part of the class too. It was really nice to be able to have all of us together and learn how all of us tick. I mean, really, like how it is. So I just wanted to brag about that too, about the town. And then lastly, I will leave you with this. There's a whole big world out there, and we need to celebrate the small victories and thank someone. So thank y'all.
Oh, you do such a good job.
I know.
Thank you.
I think y'all's gonna make it this far.
Thank you.
Y'all, do you have any questions or anything?
No.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Chastity.
you.
Good job.
Chastity, you do a great job. We certainly appreciate what you do, representing the town in all these different areas. And, you know, a couple things occurred to me while you were talking, and it's great that we have wonderful partners like RVTV to work with, and we work with the chamber and, of course, our businesses. But also, there's a lot of leadership there, you know, and you have certainly grown as a leader, and I think a lot of our folks have. We have a lot of great leaders in this town, and that's one reason I think the town is moving forward at such a great pace. We've seen some leadership from police department this evening, and certainly from your department, but that goes on all the time. And we have a great manager that's helping us with our leadership. So we're very fortunate. We have certainly been blessed. And geez, I know you enjoy your job. It shows. And that's great. That's great. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think thank you for everything that you do, but it also does show that the town is willing to invest in employees for your growth, whether it's for the town or your future out of the town. But I think it goes to show of all the leadership of wanting people to succeed and people to grow, and the opportunities are there in front of you, and good for you that you're seizing all those opportunities.
Yeah.
and actually looking for other things to do, like you said, the Smith Mountain Lake Chamber or their programs that they are. It's really good to see that people invest in their own, and then the town also invests in their people too. So,
Yep. Very good. Thank you. Mike, were there any activities on that list that we didn't touch on?
I don't think so. Fall Festival, of course, got the Halloween trick or treat at 3 p.m. on the 27th.
Yeah.
So, then in November, I guess we can talk about them at the next meeting.
You bet. Thank you, sir. Okay, with that, we'll move on to citizen comments and petitions. I don't see anyone here. It's always good to see Jeremy. Thank you. We're
Thank you,
catching
Mr.
up
Mayor.
with you this time.
I didn't get a text from Mike this time saying not to come with my tie on.
There you
so-
go. That's exactly right.
you said
Okay. Exactly.
Well, I guess so what we
I did
pretty
throw
much,
it on, as I was walking
I
out
guess
the
what
door.
we pretty much determined is from Labor Day to Memorial, we'll wear ties, and from Memorial to Labor Day, we'll come business casual.
All
How
right.
about that?
That sounds good to me.
I don't get a vote in that, so.
Doesn't mean much to me either, so, sure.
Oh, Jeremy probably wears a tie when he cuts his grass. Oh, my goodness.
I need not then, Mr. Mayor, not then.
All right, always good to see you, sir. Thanks. Mr. Town Manager, looks like it's your turn.
Thank you, Mayor Gross, members of council. I have 2 briefings this evening and 2 items requiring action. For the first briefing, actually the first 2, I'll ask the Assistant Planning and Zoning Director Nathan McClung to present those items.
Good evening, Nathan.
Hey, good evening, Mayor, members of council. So just have 2 items to discuss with you all tonight. The The first item is about our CRS accreditation. So annually, we have to we get to recertify with the NFIP CRS program, which stands for Community Rating System. It's the National Flood Insurance Program is authorized by the federal government, and communities that want to have, to allow their private property owners to have flood insurance have to participate in the NFIP program and have to have local ordinances that match their requirements. But they have an additional supplemental program called Community Rating System that allows communities to go above and beyond in implementing their flood protection policies beyond just the minimum standards. And if a community chooses to do that, the incentive is that the policyholders within their community get discounts. So the town of Benton has been a Class 8 for multiple years, and with being a Class 8, individuals living in the floodplain with a flood insurance in a flood insurance or in a floodplain property with flood insurance get a 10% discount on their policies, and even residents living outside of the special flood hazard area can actually get 5% as well. So this year we've been recertified. The town of Benton is one of 27 communities in the state of Virginia that is considered a CRS community or participating in this supplemental program. And all in all, there's 290 NFIP national flood insurance communities in the whole state. I think it's almost the entire state. It's probably like 99% of the state participates in just the general national flood insurance program. But like I said, Benton is only one of 27. But even though only 27 communities make up 9% of the total 290 that are in the NFIP program, 80% of all flood insurance policies are written in CRS communities. So obviously the outreach, the extended outreach and the additional forms of communication to the residents does have an impact on whether or not people will actually go out and get flood insurance. So this is relevant to what we're seeing in Florida today and in the past week. So just examples of the activities that we do in the town. A lot of it has to do with maintaining our maps and maintaining our local floodplain ordinances and the zoning ordinance. But we also will provide any kind of info to individuals inquiring about their property, whether it's in the floodplain, ways they can mitigate risk, and potential grants that we may be able to apply for. So someone could always reach out to our department and ask any questions about their property. You can see we have an elevation certificate on file. We can ask if they have any questions about potential building projects, even if it's just a shed or a deck. Obviously, they would come to us and we would provide them that information. We also send a brochure to every single property in Benton. Right now, the total is 201 brochures that we send out to 201 properties that are in the floodplain. The metric really is, it doesn't matter if the structure is in and out, even if the 100-year floodplain area is an inch over your property line, you're going to get a brochure in the mail that goes over it covers flood risk, and it covers things that we offer and just some helpful information that we offer from the federal level, state level, and local level. And then we also send a quarterly level 4 times a year to our repetitive loss area, which is an area of town that has seen substantial flood damage maybe in the past few decades, or has repetitive claims on flood insurance. And beyond that, it's just maintaining our current local ordinances in regards to the zoning ordinance, and working with our building department in Marin County to ensure that when someone pulls a building permit, it's also meeting our local ordinances. But those are just examples of what we do. But the biggest thing is outreach with this program, because the other aspects of it are just proving that we're doing what we say we're doing in our local ordinances. But in your question, that's just another year of us being accredited, and like I said, if individuals have any questions, they can reach out to our department anytime.
Thank you, Nathan. There again, another important function that our staff carries out that helps our citizens quite a bit. A lot of information there, but bottom line, because you guys go through a lot of these procedures, our citizens can save money on their insurance.
Exactly.
Yeah. So does that happen automatically, or do they have to let their insurance companies know that they're in a certain rated area, or do you know?
It depends on the insurance agent. And we also send a letter out to our insurance agents
Oh, okay.
as well, but
Great.
the individual needs to ask their insurance agent, that's the underwriter for the policy, that they live, that the town of Benton is a CRS community, and they should be getting technical.
Okay, great.
Also, the federal government and the National Flood Insurance Program has done a complete overhaul in the past year, so everyone's flood insurance premiums, they're gonna be changing well, they already had it at this point. The new flood map risk 2.0. So some people are gonna see their flood insurance go up, others are gonna see it go down, so it's worth reaching out to an insurance agent to see, what a policy is. A lot of individuals may think it's a tedious task, but most of the time you can get a quote within a day or two, just to get a
Cool.
quote on what flood insurance would cost you.
Okay, well, awesome, that's great. There again, you guys can provide a lot of helpful information, so thank you very much for what you guys are doing. Council, do y'all have any questions?
No,
comments?
thank you.
Thank you, Nathan, great report, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And additionally, I wanted to go over a brief plan of action for the Route 24 bike ped plan. So you all participated in our transportation workshop a few weeks ago. Hope that was helpful, that being able to learn about the city's projects in conjunction with the town's future vision for important corridors and gateway corridors. You all are familiar with the Route 24 bike ped plan that was funded through an OIPI grant that was completed over the years between 2021 and 2022, completed this May. The next step with that process and would be to actually adopt it and incorporate it by reference to our current existing comprehensive plan. Just to give other examples of when we've adopted plans that we've completed, either internally or at a local level or even at a regional level. In 2018, the 2018 Running Valley Greenway Plan, which is a regional planning effort, was adopted by reference to our comprehensive plan. And then in 2019, the Benton UDA Downtown Public Realm Design Guidelines and Action Plan, which is additionally an OIPI grant, was also adopted by reference and adopted and incorporated by reference to the comprehensive plan in 2019. So just the reason why it's important to adopt a plan and not just have it, it was completely 100% funded by the OIPI, we applied for it, but the importance of actually having it be a part of our comprehensive plan. One, it solidifies the efforts and recommendations of the steering committees, the public, and the community that participate in those efforts. But more importantly, when we go to apply for future VDOT and state and federal grants, typically the number one checkbox you have to meet when you're applying for a grant is to ensure that it's already in a local or regional plan. The only way for it to be, for us at the local level, would be for it to be adopted into our comprehensive plan. It's the main planning document that it would be incorporated into. In terms of regional studies, regional plans, we are occasionally with transportation projects, we can get by with pointing to our Vision 2040 plan with RVARC and our local MPO. But as you can tell, as you're familiar with this plan, a lot of these local street projects and localized issues that we're just focusing on at the town level are not going to be regional efforts, so they're not going to be included within that regional. So it's important for us to incorporate it for future grant money, for access to future grant applications, so we can obtain money to fund local projects, and just to solidify the efforts. And just to clarify, in that plan there was a toolkit of tools we could utilize in different parts of town. There were project recommendations that we could implement in certain corridors, and just like all plans, we include things in there that at the time we prioritize, and meeting with the steering committees, we meet with the public to see where the needs are. Needs change over time, so although we'd like to see a lot of the project recommendations incorporated over time in that plan, it's not to say they have to be incorporated in any kind of time frame that is contingent we're not tying ourselves to any form of timeline by adopting this plan. It's just ensuring that we have it incorporated, comprehensive plan to refer back to, and then the future, when we have a project, we can apply for grant funds, and also just to utilize the useful information within it to refer back to. One example is East Cleveland Avenue was focused heavily on during that grant process with the slow street concept and sidewalk improvements. And within the next year, we're actually going to be seeing some pedestrian improvements and slow street concepts and improvements on that street. Now, we may not have to apply for a regional grant or a state grant to incorporate that, but it is nice to have that coincide with a local plan so that we can prove to our citizenry that we've done previous studies. We've already looked at the corridor in depth. We're not looking at it again. We can just based off previous efforts and previous public outreach and public involvement. So the next steps would be for the Plan Commission to hold a work session and public hearing, and we have that scheduled for November 3rd. And then after that, we'll obviously have a work session and public hearing with you all. But that's just the action steps for the next phase.
Awesome, great. Couple really important things there. I appreciate you mentioning. Of course, as we know, we've been successful with a lot of our grant applications. Anita certainly worked on a lot of them. But this is one of those necessary steps, if I heard you correctly, and I think it really says a lot about our staff that they're that thorough, they know what needs to be done, and that you have all that sort of thing in place so that we are successful in getting grants. And we have a planning commission member up here, and I think it's very, very important for our planning commission to certainly be aware and kind of guide these things along. I know you guys have already looked at all this stuff.
Yeah, it's nice that, that we do add to our comprehensive plan out of, necessity and not just to update it.
Yeah.
We actually will stop and update it or add to our comprehensive plan in the middle of it's what, every 5 years or every 5 years we have to update our comprehensive plan, but in between those times we're adding things to it, so it's really exciting and really good for our town.
Yep, very good. And the other thing you mentioned too, we just want to remind our citizens how important it is when we have public meetings, and well, it's a great opportunity for them to provide their input, and as part of this whole process. So I think that's really, really important for our citizens to keep that in mind. Thank you, sir.
I mean, when you mentioned that, here, not too long ago, we had some folks to come and said, about keeping the citizens updated and getting their input, and that's what you just mentioned. That's the time to do it. So
Yep.
It'll be coming up.
Yep, sounds great. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Thanks, Nathan.
Report.
Thank you, Nathan. The first item requiring action, I'll ask our Planning and Zoning Director, Anita McMillan, to present.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Town Council, I do have before you a resolution to basically authorize the town manager to sign the Virginia Department of Transportation Standard Programmatic Project Administration Agreement and the town commitment for any VDOT funded project when the town fund is required. Having said that, it is a blanket approval. The last one that we adopted was in 2018. So having said that, every project before we can start, we do have to have an agreement to be signed by the town manager between the Department of Transportation and the town of Vinton. Currently, we do have 5 projects. 1 is under construction, 2 about to be advertised, and 2 is under 60% design. And hopefully, within a year or so, we have 1 project that we receive funding already. That is for the for preliminary engineering for phase 3 of Lake Creek Greenway, which is from railway parking all the way to Vineyard Park. That just for the PE. So that has been funded.
Yeah.
So having said that, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Good. Also move a resolution.
All right.
Yeah. That's great.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Stovall to approve the resolution as presented. Was that a second?
A second.
Okay. Second by Councilman Lyles. Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles?
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins?
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall?
Yes.
Mayor Gross?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita.
The second and last item requiring action this evening, I'll ask our Finance Director, Andrew King, to present.
All right, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I have before you this evening a resolution to increase some of the spending limits in our town purchasing policy. It's going to be focused specifically on the large purchases and professional services sections of the policy. Essentially, through conversations with our planning and zoning director and our capital projects manager, we found that with some of the supply chain issues that have come along with the pandemic and just ability to find contractors for some projects, there is a potential need to increase the limits of our professional services to the maximum which the state allows. At current, the state allows $80,000 of project expense without the necessity of a formal request for proposal. When our most recent purchasing policy was adopted, $30,000 was the maximum allowed, but like I said, with some of the pandemic related constraints, it's been noted in a couple of different departments, just the difficulty in being able to secure services at that limitation and just through the RFP process itself. So before you this evening is a policy to, under our large purchases in section 2 of the town purchasing policy, to increase to $80,000 from $30,000, and then again on the section 3, in section 3 of the town purchasing policy, under professional services, increase the limits from $10,000.01 to $30,000 to a new threshold of $20,000 to $80,000. And essentially, like I said, what this will allow is the town manager to be able to approve expenses up to the threshold that the state allows in the Virginia Procurement Act, and will essentially allow us to procure services, hopefully a little bit easier than we've seen with the existing limitations.
Thank you, sir. Mike, I believe this is one we talked about in Finance Committee, right?
It is, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, Council, you've heard the proposal to increase the purchasing policy, and this is one of the important details, I think, is keeping with state guidelines and statute, right? So, all right, so is there any questions, comments? No? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Okay. I have a motion by Councilmember Mullins to adopt the resolution. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Councilmember Lyles. Susan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lyles?
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins?
Yes.
Councilmember Stovall?
Yes.
Mayor Gross?
Yes. Jeremy's kind of after the fact, but I meant to ask you, I'm sure you've seen this, and this is...
Yeah, what Pete and I were talking about is you do have the opportunity to raise the goods and services, the non-professional services and goods, to 200,000. Your current policy is 100,000. So you do have that flexibility, and that's what Pete and I were talking about, but staff is not interested in going to that number. So that's what Pete and I were clarifying over here, and so I was just making sure that he was aware and that you're aware of that option should you choose to go down that path in the future.
I'm sorry I didn't get to that before the vote, but I don't think it affected anything, so thank you, sir, for that. Okay. Anything else, sir?
Just a few comments, if you may. I wanted to thank Nathan again on the CSR certification. That it's just another example, as you stated, Mayor, of the services we provide, kind of above and beyond what we're required to do. I want to acknowledge Anita McMillan's recent accomplishment to submit the MS4 permit. That is a very intensive and detailed report required for our, basically our sediment control, what we dispose into the public streams. And she does a really good job of, one, getting us back on track to make sure that report is accurate and submitted appropriately. It is a very tedious report, and I do not envy her for having to go through those, that process, but she does an excellent job, and that was recently submitted. So that's quite the achievement that might not necessarily be known by the general public, that we required by state code to provide that, and that, by you as council, just wanted to make sure you were aware and we were up to date and compliant. So appreciate her work there. I also wanted to acknowledge Donna Collins, who I believe has left. Donna is our HR Director in Risk Management, serves in that role as well. She applied for 2 recent grants through Versa, which is our state insurance provider. We're kind of a pooled insurance participant. And so there were 2 grants that she recently applied for, which saves town money. One of which is she applied for just shy of $5,000 to attend a LEAD program, which is it's through the Virginia Institute of Government through Weldon Cooper, hosted by UVA. There's a similar program that I went through with Senior Executive Institute, and Chassie participated in her 2-day workshop. This is a week-long version, leadership and education and development. So it's kind of a tiered approach. And our goal is to send a number of our department heads through that program in the next year or 2. So not only did Donna take it on to participate in the program, but she actually sought out a grant to pay for her tuition. The second one actually benefits Public Works employees. So she also applied for the same grant application to purchase 2 large ceiling fans that will go in our Public Works garage bay. So if you've ever been over there, July and August, it can get pretty stale and pretty warm in the garage. And so these are very large industrial fans. And so the cost is $4,000 is what we were granted to purchase those fans. So those will be installed and will really help circulate the air and keep the employees who have to work in the Sally Bays there in the summertime much better conditioned. So I just want to acknowledge her efforts there to receive those 2 grants. Want to recognize the police department once again for their accreditation. It's quite the accomplishment, and to get the accreditation is one thing, but to get a perfect score is just remarkable, frankly, and appreciate the chief's leadership there, obviously, and his staff, Deputy Lawless, Deputy Chief Lawless, and Brandon for all their efforts. It's something to be very proud of, and it shows with the perception of public safety in the town. I mean, those policies and procedures are what results in that, and knowing that we have achieved the highest level of certification is quite the honor. And lastly, I just wanted to comment again on Chassie's presentation. I think all of you are aware of the management she has of the community facilities, the War Memorial Community Center and the Farmers Market. You're aware of the large events that she helps produce with Fall Festival and parades and 4th of July. But there's a lot of things that she does behind the scenes that she doesn't necessarily go around talking about. So I have the pleasure of meeting with her every couple of weeks, as I do with all my department heads. And a lot of these details she self-initiates. These aren't things that she's directed to do. She seizes opportunities, takes advantage of these opportunities to really sell the town. And as Keith said, she's investing in herself, but it's more for her. It's more about selling the town and showing and being proud of the town and representing the town in all these different communities. So when we were talking about this is not just something that occurred last week or 2 weeks ago. It's something that's been becoming more into focus with her over the last year to certainly the last several months. And so I asked her. She certainly didn't want to talk about herself in those manners, but I encouraged her that it would be a good opportunity. It's okay. It's not bragging on herself. It's bragging about the role and the services that she provides to the community and the outreach that she's doing that's creating new businesses, that's creating new awareness, and certainly resulting in benefits and positive outcomes that we can't even capture or measure. So it was I asked her not to do a presentation, just to be who she was. And you can tell the passion she has for what she does.
Yeah.
And so I was, so that's kind of the reason and rationale for asking her to come tonight and kind of tell us a little bit more of a deeper explanation of what she does day in and day out that I would expect most people don't know.
Yeah.
She looks like she has a lot of fun on the things that you see on TV and in the production of the events, and she does. But she does a lot of very meaningful things behind the scenes. So appreciate her efforts.
Yeah, you bet. You bet.
And I believe that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say, like, you were talking about investing in employees and all, and everybody, like Chastity's taking it upon herself to do some programs and stuff, but golly, you gotta hand it to Donna. Not only does she want to invest in herself, but she goes out and gets the money to do it.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Pretty good. We remain debt-free.
There you go.
That's a good segue, Keith. Look at
Right.
you. Look at
Right.
you.
Hey.
Oh, very
Not
good.
his first day.
Very good. All right. Anything further? Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments, that's for sure. Reports from the committees.
I'm actually joyfully handing this over to our finance director, Mr. Keene.
Delegate, right?
Right. So the Finance Committee met a few weeks ago and discussed, in addition to the general financials, the resolution that I brought before you just a few moments ago. So thank you for approving that. But onto the financials, I have information through June. So it's important to keep in mind that these are unaudited figures. We're still in the midst of our financial audit, and there will be a presentation from Brown Edwards at its conclusion, but so there could be minor changes to this based on findings. Kind of staying in the same momentum that we did all year. We ended the year in a tremendous cash position. The total unrestricted cash that we have available in the general fund was just shy of $4 million at $3.8 million. Just to kind of give you a comparison, we started the year at $2.3 million, so grew that $1.5 million throughout the course of the year. Total investments, which include a variety of money markets and things of that nature, is $3.325 million. So that is also very strong. A couple of notes. I know over the course of the year, the general fund revenue budget was amended a couple of times to take into account the kind of excess revenue that we were receiving really across the board in all areas, to include meal tax and personal property, real estate. Even the cigarette stamp tax is up more than anticipated. But even with those, I guess, 3 budget amendments, the general fund still exceeded what was budgeted as far as revenue by $300,000. We are showing in June a $1.2 million expense deficit. Really, $1 million of that was rolled over in August for the paving project, and leaves about $200,000 in true expense savings that can be attributed to personnel savings and just good general use of town funds. The utility fund, it is still in the process of being closed. We're leaving it open to assist with the closure of that through the end of the year. But of course, anything there will be rolled over into the capital fund for future capital projects. Expenses in the utility fund came at about $5,000 or $500,000 less than budgeted for the year. And that is really just about all that I have. Do you all have any questions about anything specific? But really an amazing year for town financials. So.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great. Andrew, you came aboard at just the right time.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah,
That's a great job.
Awesome, man. There you go. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that. Council for closing comments. Keith, would you
Mayor,
like?
we do need to approve the June preliminary financial report.
Oh, we do? Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the report as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. Do you need a voice vote for that?
Voice is fine, just,
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, Keith?
Not a whole lot of, I don't think we've been in council since we went on our transportation jaunt around the town and really, around the city. And I really appreciate our guests that came and really kind of walked us through. Some of the language and terminology that they used was very helpful to me. When they talk about some of the words used, immediately people are on the defense for that type of language, however, how you present it. And then when you see it, it was just very educational, and thanks for putting that together for all of us to understand and to see what, not what's going to happen, what could happen in the future. So, and other than that, looking forward to fall and the fall festival and what all the activities that are going to happen this Saturday in our town.
Yeah, it's going to be a big day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Owen?
Another great meeting. I'm just happy as I can be with the town, and our employees do such a great job. And one thing that struck me tonight that occurred several times when different people were speaking, we have such great leaders. They don't take all the credit themselves. They want to show the department or the other people in their office that how they're doing the work. They don't take all the credit themselves, and they share it. And I think that's a sign of a good leader. And that's happened several times tonight. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, you bet. Yes, sir.
I think it's exciting. I mean, you look around the town and it looks like the buzz is coming back around. We got some businesses that are naturally, we've got the Dogwood, and then we've got 107 South, and then, hats off to Boxley for the paving jobs. I mean, they look absolutely great.
Yeah.
Naturally, as y'all know, I dealt with them on that one issue up there. They were great to work with. Water Authority was great to work with. And then, you go down Walnut, and there's the sidewalks going in. I mean, it's just, it's been a long time, but anyway, we get that in. And secondly, I want to say that, hats off to the citizens. I was actually looking at a friend of mine's son had killed a deer, and I was looking at it on social media. And I called council, I called Keith, because I'd seen Keith a couple times today, which was a lot. Actually, I saw him 3, and I was like, it's too much. I just can't go back there again. And then her husband wanted me to stand around and talk. I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't take it. But anyway, a citizen had commented about the lights on Hardy Road. And then I got out there, and I had to work on this a couple times, but I got out there and said, well, it was an idea of Councilman Lyles that he brought to council. And then, of course, we voted in favor of it. And then once that happened, there were some more thank yous out there. So hats off, naturally, to you. And when he brought it up back whenever it was, we typically, when we come into town on Hardy Road at night, we hang it right on Feather. Go across to Washington, Ruddle, and go home that way, because as you live in Mountain View. And so one night we went down Hardy Road, and there's Patsy's like, whew, it's dark down through here.
Yeah.
And I said it is. So, thanks to the citizens, but once again, the idea, and that's once again what I say a lot of times. I mean, that's a legacy. I mean, leaving lights on Hardy Road, they'll be there for a long time. So,
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You bet. Thank you. Yeah, that was a very good idea. And I tell you, I like the way we all work together as a team. It was a good idea, but we're glad to support that. So.
Yeah, hopefully, like I said, that, maybe because it was so dark through there, that long strip of property right there on Hardy Road across from the school, maybe just nobody could see it.
Yeah,
Right.
and develop.
That's good.
And
Right.
maybe it will develop.
Light it up at night, and maybe we have some potential investors that'll come through there and maybe put some new businesses down Hardy Road now.
There you go. That's exactly right. Not to
Wishful
mention,
thinking, but hey,
yeah,
you gotta always think positive.
that's exactly right. Yeah. Well, Council, you've covered a lot of good stuff that I had on my list. I do want to thank staff for putting together the September 16th meeting that you mentioned earlier, because I think it's very important for council to be informed and educated on, items like transportation. And it certainly involves with safety in our community. So, and boy, what a great night to celebrate our staff. We've really had an opportunity, everyone from planning department, police department, and of course Donna and Chastity did a great job today, as well as Nathan and Nita. And anytime I start pointing out individuals, I get in trouble because I leave someone out. But we do have a very, very powerful staff, and I appreciate the work they do. And I think our citizens do. That's one reason things are going so well here in our town. And that doesn't happen overnight. Our staff has been built up over the years, and we've got some great folks, and I just appreciate the job they do. Just one last time, we'll remind everyone of the Fall Festival this Saturday. Council, I think everyone probably received the email that had the thank you drawings from the children of Vinton Baptist Church.
Yeah.
That was so neat.
It was.
Where the children drew different pictures of some of the activities that go on in town, and they were thanking the town. But we want to thank them for recognizing the police and the fire and refuge collection and everything. So that's really, really neat. So thank you, children, for that. One last thing, something a little bit different we want to do. And we know all of our staff and our partners have birthdays and everything, and we don't, and we assume that they celebrate those within the departments and everything. This happens to be a birthday of someone very special. Is probably not in our departments very often. Today is Debbie Adams' birthday.
Aww.
Yeah. So we want to do something really special. I hope this is not. It doesn't sound too bad. You may want to stick your fingers in your. Yeah. Well, we are. Yeah. We're going to attempt to sing "Happy Birthday" to Debbie. It's all right. So happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Debbie. Happy birthday to you.
All right.
And thank you.
Thank you for everything that you do.
So Debbie, I got to tell you the story. So that looking at social media today and all that, I see Debbie Adams' birthday. So I'm thinking, so I get here and I said to them, and we're talking, you see us up here with our phones, it's like, thanks, Debbie's birthday, isn't it? And she said, I don't think she's on social media. I said, well, the only little Debbie Adams I know has passed away. And I said, so it came up on my Facebook page, so we got to looking at it, pulled it up. Well, I couldn't get it to come up on my phone, so then she got it to come up on her phone. So then that's where you saw that you were.
We had to check. We didn't want to see.
She said, well, I don't know if that's her Facebook page or not. I said, well, it's got to be because she's friends with me right there. She's friends with me.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, happy
Welcome.
birthday,
Happy
Debbie.
birthday.
We certainly appreciate everything you do. You're certainly part of the team here, and we appreciate your positive approach. So thank you very much. Anything further to come before council? Any other singing additions? After that, we may be finished with that. All right, if there's nothing further, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by leaving. Thank you, folks. God bless you.
That back.
Actually, that's Sabrina's. Yeah.